our inner sun, for the spirit within us, our source, our center, shines with the radiance of the sun. In fact, it is a brilliant sun in itself. The scriptures of the east of India describe the spirit as shining with the brilliance of 10,000 suns. So I like to think that the darkness cannot touch us as we radiate our inner light. Tonight we have Jon Rasmussen with us, who, as most of you know, is a local shaman who's been trained in the Andes by the Q'ero Indians in Peru. And he's got a very rich background, and he's got wonderful things to teach us. And so he's going to talk tonight about contacting our inner light. He's going to lead us in a shamanic ritual for that purpose at the time of the equinox, in honor of the equinox. So let's give him a warm welcome.
Thank you. Hello. So that's it, what Emery said. Okay, we're done. Let's go. We are sun. Oh, let's start. Let's take a few deep breaths. Just imagine that breath is the breath of all life, the breath of all spirit. As you breathe it in, let's do 3 times, just in through your nose and let it come out of your mouth, just fall out. Just notice how that alone has made you feel relative to how you've been feeling all day. Because the breath, I know in many traditions they speak of the breath and breathing exercises, and it's all the do that we're used to. But the breath is the spirit, the whole spirit, the Holy Spirit, the source. It's all coming through the breath, because the breath is that one thing that happens to us, right? Are you breathing or are you breathed? Right? So think of that a little bit and know that the breath and breathing, like we just did, is the key, actually. It's quite the key. In the Q'ero tradition, the tradition of my great shaman teachers from the Andes of Peru, been isolated for 500 years, living at 16,000 feet, and the pre-Inca and Inca medicine people, these Inca in Quechua, of course, is child of the sun. So there's a lot about sun, there's a lot about breath, and there's a lot about fire in everything we do as shamans, everything that Q'ero do. I'll be opening sacred space, we'll be opening it together. And you, instead of burning the sacred cleansing plants and such, I've got them as oils inside this alcohol base, and we use the breath to move the energy, to clear the space, to clear the energy, the breath. Okay? The power of your breath is amazing. I just want you to know that. It is the greatest power, honestly. That's the reason why it's done for us, I think, rather than up to us to remember. Oh yeah, breathe. I almost forgot. Right? Thankfully. So Kamayok in Quechua. Kamayok, power. Yok is power, breath is Kamai. So let's do that now, and then we'll continue. So we'll stand and face each of the directions, and we will be calling upon the forces of nature in the non-physical world that this world sources itself from. So all the plants, the animals, the stone people, us, we all have a spiritual or non-physical aspect to ourselves. And in these traditions, since we're going to be journeying and we're going to be doing work on the spiritual or energetic level of your being, we want to make sure that we are held in a very, very safe and sacred place where any energies from the outside aren't able to interfere. So we call upon the animal characteristics and instincts that we use, and in this tradition there's one for each of the 4 directions, and each of those animals has characteristics that apply to the medicine of each of those directions, the help for us, the help that it contains for us. So we're going to do that, and then the earth, of course, and the heavens, the stars, and so on. So let's do that. We'll face south, which is directly this way, and stand up and face that direction. To the winds of the south, Sachamama, Hatunamaru, great serpent, mother of the waters, the rivers, the galaxies, the roads that bring us together. Come hold us in this healing space. Wrap your coils of light around us. Help us to shed the old stories, the masks, the wounds, the heavy energies, the darkness, the way you shed your skin, which is all at once, right here, right now, in this moment, so that we can walk in beauty, in pure light, gently on ourselves and gently on the earth. Be with us. Hope. And let's face the west now, this direction. To the winds of the west, Otorongo, great jaguar. Come protect this medicine space for us. Devour those energies that do not belong. Teach us your ways. Help us to leap beyond the limiting myths, beliefs, shame, and the heaviness and myths and beliefs of our ancestors. And instead, help us to become warriors, but warriors who have no need to engage in battle, internally or externally. Instead, great luminous warriors who are very easily willing and able to ask and receive, so that we can leap into who we are becoming. Be with us. Hope. And to the north. To the winds of the north, great healers, wisdom keepers, teachers and lineages of all. Come hold us in the ancient wisdom and the wisdom to come. We honor you who come before us and you who will come after us, our children's children. Help us take our seats with you we've never left, as free, joyful, powerful, childlike co-creators. And hummingbird, Siwar Kenti, come help us to drink of the nectar of life, to receive unconditionally, and to do that which seems impossible as you do. Be with us. Ho. To the winds of the east, Hatun Kuntur, great condor, Apuchin, Anka, eagle. Help us to soar high. Help us to call on our greatest, most fulfilling destiny and bring it to earth. Make it real. Help us to have the broadest perspective and the clearest vision of our true power, our true light, as we fly wing to wing with great spirit, with self-effort and grace. Be with us. Ho. And to the earth. Pachamama, great mother, beautiful, powerful, wild, untamable Mother. Thank you for holding us, for being in our bodies, the air, the water, and all your children, all our relations, the stone people, the plant people, the two-legged, the four-legged, the creepy crawlers, the fin, the furred, and the winged ones. All our relations that not only feed us and bring us beauty and joy, but also offer us their medicine, their characteristics and instincts that we have within us as well, that we may need in the moment. And thank you, Mother, for taking those energies that are too heavy for us and shedding them and mulching them for us so that we don't have to carry them around. We can stay light, we can stay in our true power to take life beyond where it's been before. Thank you, Mother. Oh. Inti Taita, Father Sun, Mama Kia, Grandmother Moon, Hatun Chaska, Star Brothers and Sisters, thank you for showering us with your light, your cycles, that make life possible for us here, and doing this unconditionally without judgment, teaching us to treat ourselves and each other this way. And Great Spirit, Leticha Witakocha Wakantanka, God, the creator of all that is, you who are known by 1,000 names, yet the unnameable one that dwells within us and all around us in all forms, flows through us. Thank you for bringing us together to sing this song of life one more day, to dance this dance of co-creation, to take it beyond where it's been before, new possibilities, new expansion. And thank you for all those you've brought to us to help us and show us our potential. Oh. Okay. Have a seat. So the thing about shamanism that I love and find useful is that it's very practical and pragmatic. It's wonderful to feed your mind and clear your mind and become knowledgeable and wise and full of information. But then my teachers would say, how do you grow corn with it? Right? Otherwise it's just interesting conversation. How do we bring it into our lives, our daily lives, into the world? And so tonight I really, hope to take this concept of the inner light to a place that you can actually, feel and experience and remember and tap into day to day, especially when you need it, right? Especially in the world the way it is. Now, when I was opening space, I called to Inti Taita, and that in Quechua, literally translated is Father Sun, but it's the sun behind the sun. It's not that ball of fire and light that sustains us. It's the God source behind it that we're calling on and that we're thanking. And that's what's within all of us. It's within everything. You've heard the sayings, there's only one of us in the room. There's only one being, with 1,000 names. Right? God, Yahweh, Allah, but it's just Allah in Aramaic literally just means the one being, not the only being, just the one, that there's just the one being. So that's also the key to the light within, because that light within is the sun behind your identity, the sun, the light behind this person you've gotten to know in this body and in this brain. And if you recognize that, if you remember that, okay, it's not about tapping into a part of me as an individual separate from you. I've got to find the light in Jon that's still called Jon maybe, or something else, right? Jon's higher self, if you will, right? Not so much. It's not about that. It's how do I find that light that's breathing through me with the breath, but also you, because we all share the same breath as well. So it's the namaste, it's the God in me, bows to the God in you. It's all of these sayings from all of these traditions, right? So the practice is literally, and there's all kinds of metaphor and all kinds of ways this is taught in different spiritual traditions and wisdom and traditions and shamanic traditions, but it's literally the sort of splitting of the veil. It's the splitting of your face, of your identity, right? You can call it shedding the ego and all these esoteric things. But the thing about shamanism is that we want to keep it really simple. The Karo don't have written language. There isn't books you can read that describe the many processes and philosophies and teachings behind what they do. It's really just much more about just do it. Somebody wrote me recently they're interested in ayahuasca and wondered, which is the plant medicine in the jungle that we use to get into altered states that we can also do with the drum and so on. And they wondered if there were any books that I could recommend. And I was thinking, I've never read a book on ayahuasca. I've done it a bunch, right? But I've never read about it. So it's very much about that. It's very much about just do it. Like you don't have to fill your head with it. Just find a way to do it. So the ritual and the ceremony is how we do it. It's simple movements. You could literally, so there's a process in our tradition where we reach up before we've opened sacred space like we did, right? That's the sort of ecosphere we call it. We call on the forces of nature to come and hold us in this bubble. But before we work on somebody as well, we open up our own noosphere, it's called, or the personal space. And we do that by reaching up into what's considered the 8th chakra, which is that part essentially that connects us to the source, that is not within the physical body so much. We're aware of all the 7 chakras, and then there's this 8th chakra. But that is the Viracocha in Quechua, which is the wellspring of the source. So it's how the source bubbles within you. And so we reach up there and we literally pull that bubble around us. And the way I like to think of it and practice tonight and have you do is, okay, so if you have the light of source within you, let's turn it inside out. How do you connect? How do you get past the veil? How do you get past the darkness that is essentially just the blocking of the light with concerns and worries and ego and processes and stories and who am I and how much work have I done and how much more work do I need to do and what about all my relationships and my past, and that's a lot of stuff, right, that we're piling upon this pure light that really is who you are. And that's not a bad thing, because we're here for the drama. There's a reason why the light separated into a bunch of different beings, so that we could all engage with each other and have pleasure and painful experiences, and mostly pleasure and less pain would be great. But what I like to think of it as is starting here at the center, the core, the heart chakra, which is the center of your soul, your luminous body, which is like a torus. It's got infinite source coming in and then doing stuff and then out the base of your body and then wheels around with the chakras and all that to help us engage. And I like to think of it like you're taking the light that's at the center and you're pushing it out through the top, and you're spreading it around you. So you're turning your light inside out. So when you do that, it's, when I'm doing sessions for people, it's no longer Jon. It's no longer this guy that I normally walk around and be. I want to get that guy out of the way. And I want to be a conduit for Source and for all the non-physical help that knows how to do healing, that knows how to do the surgery on the luminous body, so to speak. And that's really what's happening in a session. So that's partly why we do that. Okay. So let's try it. Let's just do it, because we'll just open up the space for ourselves, and then we'll do a little journey. So again, breathe, because the breath, right? Remember the breath. The breath is what ensures that fire within you is kept stoked. In a sense, it's the oxygen that brightens that fire. And there's ways of doing it that heat you up, literally. The yogis that sit in the freezing cold and they stay warm because the way they breathe literally stokes that fire in every part of their body. And imagine that fire is building between your hands now. So strong, it's spreading out so powerfully from the center of your being that it's filling your hands. Create a little space between your hands. Reach up and take that fire in your hands and spread it out around you. Take that light all the way around. Back, side, front. And it's very true, I believe, that those who have kept that constant awareness of their connection to the light, I and God are one, my Father and I are one, etc., etc. Those great ones who were able to always remember that and keep that fire, keep that light on the outside. Nothing could, they could do miracles, right? And nothing, all the things in the world that we worry about, that we think are going to get us, the quote-unquote darkness out there, and the bad forces and bad people and bad situations that we feel almost helpless to change, right? They can't really get us. They can't permeate, they can't do anything to that light. So that's the purpose, right? So that when you look around and when you see a situation or somebody that is causing you concern, it's causing you fear, it's causing you depression or whatever it's, however way it's getting to your mind, that's just the story your mind is telling. The story we tell becomes our reality no matter what is happening, no matter who does what to whom. The shamans say that how we experience it is based on the story we tell about it, we wrap around it. Oh, that really hurt me. I really was offended by what they said, or I'm really upset about what they're doing. Yes, that's it. That's your story. You know, and you can tell a different story. You could tell a story of, wow, what they're doing is pretty amazing, and who knows where it's going to lead. And I wouldn't do that per se necessarily, but I'll be fine. Everybody will be okay. They really won't get very far with it. That's a different story. So the mind is, you know, is the tool for doing that, for creating stories, for creating perceptions, and all reality is perceptions. So to support the mind, to help the mind, we do these practices, we do these meditations, we do these shamanic acts of power that help to remind us that we are not our mind and we are not our body. In fact, it's all an illusion, essentially. It's a theater that we're here playing in. It comes and goes, gets taken down and put back up over broad cycles, right? And you know, the Mayan calendar is amazing, right? Because they have the more holographic view of the world and cycles, as above, so below, right? We have our seasons that we're dealing with now, right? The fall equinox that we're coming into. The sun in this hemisphere, this part of the world, the sun is going down sooner, it's less light during the day. But we also have broader cycles like that on the planet, for all beings on the planet, that go through lighter periods, darker periods, okay, right? And tens of thousands of years. You have personal cycles like that could go just through the day, right? There's all studies of what part of your cycle in different times of the day and when it's better to do certain things. It's fascinating, right? So in this time where on a seasonal cycle in our hemisphere, the days will be shorter, right? We speak of the opportunity to create the sunlight that's lacking, that's missing, right? It's an opportunity for us to work with fire more, to work with our own inner fire as well. And then we have the cycles that humanity's going through, the Pachacuti that my Karo teachers speak of, the world turning right side up, and what that implies, revolution essentially of sorts, that can be very tumultuous and scary and all this kind of stuff. But we in this room have the tools. We have all the tools. We have lots of wisdom. Read every book. I've read every, I've done, and then do these simple practices, Make it simple, make it a ritual. Consolidate all the wisdom into something you can actually do, that you will do. Even if it's just this. You may not meditate for 4 hours a day. You may not have the time or the energy to do a lot of different things, lighting candles every morning or such like that. But find something simple to do that will help you remember all the wisdom and use it practically, right? So when it comes to, so the first step, of course, is to do that for yourself, is to break through your own mask, is to remember who you really are, and use the breath to do that. When you're really frightened, you hold your breath. Ever thought about that? That's interesting, isn't it? Right? And if you stay in that place of holding your breath when something shocks you like that, then you're missing the opportunity that we've been designed with, if you will, to process it, to apply the breath to it, to move through it. I saw a quote today by Winston Churchill: if you're going through hell, keep going. Okay. I love it. Don't stop. Okay, don't stop there. Right? So, same thing. If you find something that takes your breath and makes you hold it, breathe. And you'll feel heat. You feel, when you get shocked, you get angry at somebody, not only do you hold your breath, but you feel, you feel the temperature rising, and there's cartoons about it, right? It's very real. That's what was meant by hell, by the way. That's the fire. In that moment, you're going through hell. That's hell. And how do you keep going? Use the breath. Breathe. Let the fire continue to work its way through, and it will pass, and you will have processed that shock. Anger and sadness we process through crying, screaming, and yelling. Okay? That's normal, that's natural, that's how we're built. Do that, but also then when there's something that seems dark, right? Seems like this is horrible, this is bad, this can't be happening, they can't let this happen, they shouldn't do that. Just breathe. Because that elicits the spirit, it elicits the great God within you, the source within you, to shine out. And then you feel that lighter, you feel the lightness, it comes back to you. And then you can begin to actually look at the person, look at somebody else who's the person who made that happen, and see it in them. And recognize, oh no, they're just acting from their mask. They're just acting from their thick veil, right? They're acting from their own fears and woundedness, and right? And it's like, okay, I get that. I'm not really pleased with it. I really don't want to hang around it, but I'm not going to be victim to it. I'm going to breathe, and I'm going to recognize that there's a light in there that's the same light in me, and if I can just get mine going, it'll help that one to go. And you can literally speak to that in them, in your mind. You can literally say, hey, light in there. Break through. Break through their wounded self, their pain body, as Eckhart Tolle would speak of it, and all, come on, I know you're there, come on, come with me, so that's who you want to be speaking to and addressing, right? First and foremost, we start there. So think of it as, masks, right? Think of your stories, your identity, your work, your roles. It's just a mask. And it's a good one. This is theater, right? We have the masks in the theater, the drama, the comedy, the tragedy. We have that's the deal, right? So it's okay to have those, but then when you really when you're really looking for the way to shift it in the moment, that's how you do it, and so this is just words, but what shamans want to do is make it a ritual, make it a ceremony. That's why they literally have masks in a lot of traditions that they put on, and they dance around, and they and then they take it off, and it's back to their original self, because it's a metaphor for what this actually is. You're wearing your mask right now, so to be able to break that open, to split that open, to take it off, do those movements. That's why this movement, So think of rituals and ceremonies that you can do when you really need to get to your light, that literally opens up. And it's that simple. Even that, I just made that up. Okay, that's the new ritual, okay, everybody? That's the shamans of Monterey of Luminata. This is the new ritual. Right? Literally, that's it. I mean, that's how they all, you could go back to the Hopi and to this, and they all have really elaborate rituals and the Karo and everything. But it was just because some person was sitting there and went, oh, what should we do? Oh, let's do this, you know? And so, yes, it's your prerogative to create the one that works for you. You know, that you can do, that feels good to you. Movement, dance, art, poetry, that's what it's all about. Does that make sense? Any questions about any of that at this point? It's all good?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I thought about drumming tonight. They've been doing a lot of rattling the last several times, and so I'd like to just kind of maybe we'll do a little journey when I'm and the thing about the drum is I want the drum beat in your mind's eye and your imagination to be shaking loose the veil, to create space between your veil, to begin to shake loose the mask, okay, within you. And then imagine it doing it, I mean, it's as above, so below. So imagine it's doing it for all of humanity. There's a lot of ceremonies happening tonight and tomorrow night and the next night, all over the world for this time. So we are adding to this collective, bringing the light and so on. So let's do that. And so you can close your eyes and get the drum. Okay, so we've already opened that Viracocha of ours, the wellspring of the soul. We're inside out. Our light is exposed. So let's see what we can do with it. Breathe. Feel your breath connecting to the drum's breath. Your breath is a conduit for the beat of the drum, for the vibration of the drum to come into your center of your body. Through the lungs, breathe in the drum. Particle of breath, as it passes through your lungs and into your bloodstream and every cell of your body, carries the vibration of this drum. And it begins to break up all the places within your body and within your mind, within every cell that is blocking the light, that can be considered dark, so that all the light shines through. Every infinitesimally small part of your being contains all the light of the universe, because it is infinite. And as the vibrations creates the space, that light begins to shine out from within you, out of your body, out into the universe. one light that meets up with all the others. And each light, each being, each person, each part of the earth resonates with this same beat, these same vibrations. And wherever there is darkness, it is broken apart. Anywhere there is too much darkness, the light and the vibrations of the drum and your breath and your light, your viracocha, your heart is contributing to breaking up that darkness. So that it is mostly light. It's the light that was always there. The light and the love, which are one and the same. Breathe in the vibration of the drum. See it across the earth, breaking up any darkness in any being, in any organization, so that the light can burst through. The true one source behind all of this. And you will remember this. You will remember when you see darkness coming towards you or around you or inside your head or inside of you anywhere, that this breath, with this vibration, dissolves it, breaks it apart, and the light prevails. The light returns always. This is who you truly are. This is the one. You're not the mask, you're not the light, you're not the dark, you're the one true light. That is how powerful you are. And you only have to do the thing you've been doing since the day you were born, and that is to breathe and be. And if you doubt for a moment, if you're divided in any way, the breath will also dissolve that. And you will become single again. Single in your knowing that this is your power. You are the light and the breath. And there is no greater power over you, and the dark has no power. Okay, feel pretty good. So it's fun when it becomes your new habit, because people will notice. They'll go, you always go, what are you doing? It's a joke amongst our shaman school, because I guess all of us at some point, recognized what we were getting into, and you couldn't, it's big stuff, so you couldn't help but take a deep breath often. You might have heard me even before this started, right? I was wandering around going, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? That's why I do that. It's doing what it does. It's doing what it does. It's clearing away any doubts, any darkness. It's just none of that's real. So yeah, that's all you got to do. Just breathe. And remember, it'll carry this vibration because it's in you now. I was speaking of ayahuasca earlier. When we do ayahuasca, they say, it stays in you. It's always there, months later. And one of the things we do in those journeys, because it shows you all the nooks and crannies of your mind where there are things that need to be, looked at in a 4-hour period in one night. We use the breath to blow away the images we don't like when we're having those visions and stuff. So it's universal. So you're seeing something, you're hearing about something, you're experiencing something that's, not ideal, not what you'd like to see. Just breathe at it. And it breathes the light, and it breathes the drum, and it creates the space. And that light then shines through. What's that?
Blow it away.
Blow it away. You literally, essentially like that, yeah. I mean, you're blowing the veil away. You're ripping the veil, you're blowing it into, it's like a frail web, and you're, so that the light can shine, because it's everywhere. There is no place that light is not, in spite of what it sometimes looks like. It's there. It's just covered with layers and layers. So keep, your own layers, keep peeling and keep at it with anything else going on in the world. It's a beautiful, powerful, it's an act of power. Just to do that, just to have no doubt that when you are connecting to source, the source that's in you, and then you're breathing it out, that it is clearing, that it is doing what we did tonight. Yeah. Oh.
Anyone who would enjoy taking a little handful of these as your reminder of the season, flowing away and welcoming in the new, or take a bath in it or something. These are literally the last of the rose petals is from the garden. She harvested the last and all that she had.
She mentioned that Jon does shamanic healings and rituals personally and privately, so you can always contact him for that. And we've got his book and CDs.
Few journeys, meditations, my book, yeah.
You talked about shaman school. Is there anything within driving distance from here you could learn this stuff?
Just drive down to Lima and turn left.
Yeah. Yeah, not really, not around here. I do some teaching personally in certain cases where it makes sense and it works out, but the Four Winds, thank you. Love it. The Four Winds is society is, Alberto Vialdo and Caro and everybody, that's awesome. And I think what they're doing now, they were doing it in Joshua Tree, I think they're doing it at Alberto's home in Chile. And then there's some East Coast locations where they're doing the teaching. But I'll give you my card, and if you're interested, we can talk about other options.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming through. It's just increasingly. I've been doing this good 15 years now, and it's been, year after year, increasingly available and sort of on every level. It's quickening, which makes sense. It's the shamanic traditions are based on cumulative effect. The initiation rites that we receive in ceremony, in addition to the wisdom teachings and the things we go through to clear ourselves and learn how to do this. The initiation rites are essentially like an energetic download of an accumulation of everything that was learned and experienced in every teacher before me. And then, so I've been doing this 15 years. I've gathered a bunch of new experience above and beyond where the ones that my teacher had. But they gave me everything they had when I started. The first thing we get is the initiation rite. So then, now when I give them to somebody, it's sort of like they get mine as well. And so it takes less and less time to come up to speed, essentially, and to channel the medicine, if you will, to be available to hold space for a client, if you will, while they're healing and such, which is what we do, mediating between the non-physical and the physical worlds. So calling on, like we did with the opening space, calling on the team that comes and makes this more than just what Jon can do. With my words and stuff. So that's it, yeah. Good stuff. All right.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
Very
everyone.
much appreciate it.
Happy Equinox and happy autumn.
Yeah. Happy